Welcome back to Mike's Archery's YouTube, and we are taking a look at some of the new PSE bows for 2021. And John Dudley has introduced a new bow in his signature knock-on lineup, and it's the new Embark. As you know, John is a fantastic shooter and one of the best techs out there, and he's working at PSE, and he came out with that knock-on edition last year. And what he did this year was he took some of that technology, brought it to a little lower price point, bringing it down under that $1,000 mark at a $799 price point, but still with some great features and just an overall great bow. Still, it's going to come in that really cool knock-on green. So if you're that lover of neon green colors and this kind of olive drab forest green that he's got, and if you love that subalpine camo that he's using, those are coming on the limbs. It's kind of a combo deal with the camo limbs, green riser, and then those bright green strings, but gives it that great knock-on look that he has customized everything at. Some of the specs on this bow, PSE always puts a speed range rather than a specific speed. So it's a 319 to 327 spread on it, and that's going to depend a lot on where you set this bow as far as draw length and different things. But overall, it's right there in that mid to upper 320s, and it's not going to be a speed bow by any means, but that means it's going to be a shootable bow for you guys out there. Axle to axle, 31 inches, a nice compact axle to axle on this, more of a tree stand blind hunting bow, just a little more compact than what he was putting in that 33-inch axle to axle bow in his flagship stuff. So the weight on this bow, the physical weight on this bow, is advertised from the factory at 4.3 pounds. When we threw it on the scale, and obviously it was bouncing a little bit, it was literally bouncing back and forth, 4.2, 4.4. So frankly, it's right on that 4.3 mark, which really we rarely see. When we throw somebody's bow on the scale to see what it weighs, factory spec is usually, you know, 1, 2, 3/10 of a pound less than what the bow actually weighs. But John, congratulations, you hit this one right on the nose. It's actually coming in at 4.3 of what you're advertising it. Now the draw length adjustability on these cams, and it is an Evolve style cam that they've done. I wouldn't call it a true Evolve cam, but it's got the style that PSE has had in that Evolve. It's a little lower end cam, and you can adjust this bow from 23.5 all the way out to 30.5, and that is plenty of adjustment to fit pretty much anybody on the market. So if you're grabbing this bow in whatever poundage you need it in, 60 or 70, you're going to have a ton of options there to fit pretty much everybody. 10 turns off the limbs, so you can crank this down to some lower weights if you need that lower poundage in those shorter draw lengths. Want to maybe get it for your kid or your wife or something like that. Let them grow into it, that type thing. It's going to have a ton of adjustment on that cam. Now, it is an 80% let off. You do not have adjustable let off on this bow. You're going to have to step up to their higher end bows to get that adjustable let off option if it's something you're wanting to be able to play with. This one is fixed at 80%. It does have a little different rotating mod on that cam, but it's still a single rotating mod where the draw stop, the cable stop is built into that same rotating mod just like on the Evolve. So you're going to get all that in one movement, one adjustment with just a couple of Torx heads. You can make those draw length adjustments and not have to move that extra draw stop peg as well. Does give a great solid feel at full draw. And we've seen that on most of the Evolve cams and those Evolve style cams that they put on these lower end bows, or mid-range bows anyway. It's still giving a really good feel being a cable stop. It almost has a limb stop feel to it, even though it's only a cable stop. Now the brace height on this bow is coming in at 7 inches, so a fairly high brace height, which is going to, again, give this bow some shootability. It's probably where they're losing a little bit of the speed, but again, like I said, going to give some forgiveness and shootability out of this bow. The other things that they did on this bow is they gave a rest tie-in. So if you're shooting a fall-away rest of some type, they've done these plastic yoke splits, top and bottom. So if you want to tie top or bottom, you can, depending on the rest you're shooting. And you can run that directly into those cable ties. And you're not going to have to split the cable, serve anything in regardless, or actually go to the limb. You can come right there, put that in, and be set up. From there, he came with his double rest holes, which is something that PSE doesn't normally put on their bows, but they put that on the Nock On Edition on their higher end bow, and they put it on this Embark as well. So you're going to be able to put 2 rest bolts in there and, you know, make that definitely solid so your rest can't rotate or move in any way, shape, or form. From there, he also used just the single sight mounting holes. Again, PSE on most of their model bows has 2, possibly 3 different sets of sight mounting holes in their riser. Dudley has not seen a reason for that, and he has just kept it with a single sight mounting position, and that's all there is. And frankly, I don't know that you really need those adjustments that PSE puts in there. It's very rare that we've ever seen an issue where we needed to move a sight up or down, go right in the middle, and everything's pretty much going to line up every time. Now, they did put the nicer roller guard on this. It is just a standard straight cable rod, but they did put the roller guard, or the roller guide on there, so you're not getting any chatter or movement. It's very smooth through the draw with that roller guard on there. It is available in 2 colors. It's coming in, obviously, the Nock On green standard color, and it is in the special ops as well. So both those good-looking bows. Not a ton of options in this bow, but you don't need a ton of options when you're doing a Dudley Signature Series bow. The grip that comes standard with the rubber grip, and it is removable. A couple screws on the sides, you can pop that off. Have that really thin metal grip directly in the riser if that's what you want to do. Just gives you a couple options there on the grip, and it's a personal preference. I like the thinner grip. It usually takes a little torque out of the shot, but the rubber grip does give a nice fuller feel in your hand. Also going to be a little warmer on those cold days sitting in the stand. A few of the other things we noticed about this bow, and most of it is in the name of price. So I realized that they were trying to get the price point down on this bow, so they took a few features out of it. One thing we noticed right off, they went to the polymer limb pockets. So it is not an aluminum limb pocket on this bow. Obviously a little cheaper, but you're going to expect that because they were trying to get the price down on it. They only gave you the single stabilizer hole up front rather than the dual stabilizer, and there is no stabilizer hole in the back as well. So you've just got the single standard stabilizer hole, which is plenty for 99% of the guys out there, really. One of the other things we noticed, and you know, John had a couple signature things that he put into that higher end Nock On bow. One was his quick stand. We really thought he probably would have put that in there just as an accessory option. It's a couple drilled holes in the riser at an angle where you can take that quick stand that is basically a standard arrow, thread that in there, and you've got, you know, a stand there for your bow if you're in a ground blind or whatever. He did not put that on this bow. Again, I'm sure all in the name of features and price. It's an extra tooling and milling process they would have had to go through, but not there. They also did not mill out the shelf of the bow here with that lower thumb grip, which gives you a little more clearance. It's just a flat shelf straight on the riser. Not anything that's really, you know, earth-shattering or going to cause you to buy this bow or not buy this bow probably. But it was all in the name of price, and we can understand that. One of the other things we noticed that they did not include on this bow was the limb dampeners. So they've taken those out and not included them in the bow. So there's no limb dampeners on here, but to be honest, it's still a very quiet bow, very vibration free when you shoot it. I don't know that putting them back in there would gain you a whole lot of, you know, quietness out of this bow or anything, taking vibration out. Single string stop here that's taking some vibration out of it, and it was a very dead in the hand bow. Felt really good when we were shooting it, and you'll see that on video. Overall, just a great bow. One of the things we do want to point out, made in the USA. PSE, all their stuff is made in the USA as long as you're staying in those flagship bows. And most of even their lower end bows are still made right there in Arizona at the factory. Very little stuff being imported from PSE. And this Dudley bow is no different. All made in the USA parts on this thing. So we got to give him kudos for that, even bringing the price down and still keeping it made here. Overall, just a great bow that PSE's put together with John. And you know, it's just something that you can get into if you're wanting a Nock On series bow and you didn't want to spend $1,200. We can understand that. Now the average guy can jump into this at a little lower price point. So take a look at what John's putting together with PSE and some of the great features they've come out with on the new Embark. So we're going to step outside and take a few shots of this thing over the chronograph, see kind of what speeds it puts up, what it feels like, and keep in mind it is a 60-pound bow, so it's not going to get the speeds, but we'll go see that and check out what it does. We've stepped out here and we've got the new Embark, the new John Dudley bow. We're going to shoot this thing over the chronograph and take a couple shots out of it, kind of see how it feels, what it sounds like, and just kind of give you an overall idea of what we think of the bow. So let's go ahead and shoot this over the chronograph and just kind of see what we get out of it. So 268, which this bow is on 60 pounds. So just so you're aware, we're shooting this on a 60 pounds, and we're shooting a 400 grain arrow out of this bow, and 268 feet a second is not real bad. Now, we are shooting it supposedly on 29 inches, and I will say this, I don't know if this is just something about the bow, it feels short to me. According to the mod specs, it is at 29 inches, and I am a 29-inch draw, but it does feel short, so you may take that in consideration. It is a fully adjustable mod, so regardless of what it feels like to you, set it to where you need it. But out of the box, this thing does feel a little short at 29 to me. But overall, very dead in the hand, very quiet shooting bow. Really probably one of the quieter bows we've shot in the last few weeks. Sounded really good. We did notice with the grip, you've got a couple options there. You can shoot this with the rubber grip that comes on it, which feels really good in your hand. It's a little cold today, but that'll be nice from a hunting standpoint. But if you like that thinner grip, you can slide that rubber grip off and shoot it with that thinner grip. Now overall, I kind of like that thinner grip. Usually gives you a little less torque, but again, personal preference thing, and so you've got some options there. But overall, man, this bow just feels really good. I think John's done a great job putting this thing together at a price point for the average hunter, and at $799, it's going to be one of those bows, if you didn't want to jump at $1,000 but you really love what John's put together, take a look at the new Nock On Embark.